Our last talk for today, I invite N.Vasiljevic, the head of Insights and Analytics at Manhattan Games. Nicola strives to create and cultivate a data-driven culture and to use all available data to help game designers make better games, as well as to educate them on the power of data. He will close the first day of Pandora with a topic leveraging sentiment and topic detection analysis for decoding player feedback in the video games industry, if you haven't changed it.
No, it's still the same.
Okay,
Still the same.
well, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Welcome to my presentation, and thanks for sticking this late in the day. I know it's hard, especially after the lunch, but bear with me, and the presentation is not starting. 3, 2, 1. Okay, briefly about myself. I'm head of Insights at Manhattan Games. We're a studio that makes AA and in near future AAA games. And today I'm going to be talking about how we leverage sentiment and topic analysis to analyze players' feedback. So we make AA and AAA games, not mobile games, so we do not get to soft launch. So any kind of player feedback we can get is of the essence to us. So before we start, can you tell me how many of you have ever conducted sentiment or topic analysis? Never mind if you're in the gaming industry. Okay, 1, you do not count. Okay, just a couple of you. So good, you're at the right place. My aim here today is to show you how we do it and to hopefully inspire you to do it yourselves. I think my goal is to try to bring value, to show you the way we are doing something, the benefits of it, and to inspire you to do it yourself. So briefly today we will go through some introduction of sentiment topic analysis. I'm going to show you how we utilize them to analyze players' comments and reviews on the internet with some examples from our games Cars Above. We'll be talking about the challenges we faced on that way, how we solved those challenges with what methodologies and algorithms, and I'm going to, of course, leave you with some key takeaways. So let's start. What is sentiment analysis? Sentiment analysis is an area of research and of natural language processing, which basically takes any textual input, so it can be a text, a comment, a review, and assigns it a sentiment. It can be positive, neutral, or negative. And the common application for this is the analysis of customer satisfaction with your products. The analysis can be expanded to include sentiment into more granular level, like mixed sentiment or very positive, very negative. It can detect specific emotions like happiness, sadness, thrill, excitement. It can detect intention, for example, consideration, and purchase intention, which is important for a marketing funnel. Topic detection, or more broadly, qualitative data analytics with topic detection, basically almost does the same. So it's an area of research and data analysis which takes the textual input and does that contextual analysis. Basically, its job is to tell you what's being discussed in that particular snippet or piece of text. The common application for this is contextual analysis of consumer feedback. So what do we use it for? We use it to analyze players' comments and reviews on the internet. When you ship out a game, have a demo, or just release a trailer or something like that, well, players will flock into the internet to give you their free opinion. It's free, there are tens of thousands of comments, and it's free insight, and believe me, I've worked in other industries, they would kill to get free insights like this. They pay thousands of dollars to ask players, like 100 or 200 people for their opinion, and here you have tens of thousands of players giving you their opinion for free. So it's important that you use it. What we use it for? Well, we use it for many stuff, and these are some of the areas we use it for. We use it to analyze the main drivers behind genres. Basically, we want to find out what attracts players to a certain genre, what they like about it and what they expect. So if you want to get into that genre, you really need to know what are the main drivers behind it. We use it to analyze competition games, to see what players like or dislike about them. We, of course, analyze user satisfaction and attitude towards our games. We do player segmentation, mostly to promoters and detractors based on sentiment, and this enables us to deliver insights to our game design team and other leads to, number one, make good games, and number two, improve them along the way, because very rarely you make the perfect product, on the first try. So these are some of the things we can do based on a sentiment and topic analysis. We can use those main genre drivers to define pillars for our future games. We use these insights to make game design decisions. We can solve bugs, we can balance out our games, but it's also closely related to marketing because we can refine our communications based on what we see the players are talking about regarding our game. We can also patch up our live games, and basically you can do a lot of it. What is our main challenge when trying to do this? Well, our main challenge is basically to provide insight in a timely manner to our game design teams, because the production will go on, never mind our speed. If you are not quick enough to provide insight, the production is gone. So if we go with the first set of methodologies, these are the traditional methodologies which are here for decades for the qualitative analysis of any textual input. The challenges over there is that it requires unbiased experts. It takes a lot of time to do so. It's hard to scale for big data because traditional methods are good, for research where you have like 100 or 200 or maybe 1,000 respondents, but not very good for like tens of thousands of comments. And it cannot be fully automated. On the other hand, the group of, let's say, modern automated methods based on machine learning, large language models, and natural language processing, well, they're not in their base form quite good at understanding irony, understanding double meaning, sarcasm, broken language, and mistakes players make when it's not literate language they use in their comments. It's sometimes really gibberish, and you need to make sense of it. Then there is the industry-specific slang. Some of the words you can see here, and you know them for yourselves. Base machine learning algorithms not gonna do well here. And also understanding context, it's important. So these algorithms, they do not have domain knowledge. So the first group is very accurate, but it's slow. It cannot be automated and scaled in an efficient way. The second group, less accurate, but it's fast. So you kind of see where I'm going here. What we do, we mix these methods. We use a lot of fine-tuning, and by fine-tuning, I don't mean just fine-tuning of machine learning algorithms, but fine-tuning of all these methodologies so they can fit together and provide value. And of course, you need something we call a human bus driver. So someone with the domain knowledge who is behind it all, who's driving the process, understands the data, understands the players. And we've seen a great example in Sue's presentation about causation and correlation. Someone who actually knows what causation is, who is there to connect the dots, and can just make sense of it all. So let's start with an example of our game released this year. It's an action-adventure shooter called Scars Above. And when do we start actually with sentiment and topic analysis? Well, we define something we call first significant contacts. This is the first gameplay trailer and the first demo release. This is where players actually get to see your game, and they just flock in to tell you what they mean. So we of course start a top-down analysis. We see the satisfaction, for the whole game, the positive, neutral, or negative, and the people who are assessing the game as positive, we call them promoters, while the neutral, negative sentiment, these are the detractors. So this doesn't tell us a lot, so it's just the general feeling. So we want to know what players are talking about when they're talking about our game. So we go deeper into something called topic analysis. We try to see what the players are talking about. For example, here, combat difficulty, mechanics, sound design, story, animations, controls, and we split that by sentiment. So we basically want to know what players are talking about and in which manner. And here, you almost always see something interesting. The first interesting thing here is, you can see the second bar, combat difficulty, almost the same number of positive and neutral and negative comments. It's very polarizing, and this is something game designers don't want to see. So basically, there is one thing that's very divisive among your target group. So what do we do next? We keep drilling down. We take out that topic and dig further, reduce it to subtopics like game difficulty, boss difficulty, etc., and look at what the supporters are talking about when they talk about combat difficulty, and what the detractors. And you can see that the supporters, they like boss difficulty, they like game difficulty, they like aiming, shooting, etc., game being Souls-like. But then again, the detractors, they also say, we don't like the boss difficulty, we don't like the game difficulty, we don't like it being Souls-like. So we're in a pickle, right? We have some players that like something and some of them that don't. We then keep drilling, and want to see some meat on this. Want to see some comments, top-like comments, comments with the greatest engagement, to try to tell a story, to see what's behind those numbers. So the first group, they say they like the game because it's challenging in a positive way. The boss fights are exciting. They like learning attack patterns because it's rewarding for them, and it requires skill, which is also rewarding. Then the second group says combat is unfair, boss difficulty, especially the first one, is unfair. I was there for the story, but the combat is too much. Why is it Souls-like? The easy mode is not making the game easy. So we have something, but then again, we see two different groups of players, just talking about the same thing from two different aspects. So what to do now? Do you just start fixing things? It's not that easy, because if you start just catering using this, and these are not insights, these are just some points. You can start, you could perform some actions on, but these are still not insights. So what to do next? We obviously have two different subgroups here. One are there for the story, they're not very combat savvy, and the other group is skilled in combat, and they don't want the combat difficulty. So, sentiment topic analysis, they provide you with something we call, let's say, data points or data dots. They give you something, but it's your job as an insights manager to connect those dots using something called grounded theory, which is basically forming theories and hypotheses based on data. So we saw the data on the previous slide, and our hypothesis for this was that if we reduce the difficulty by some manner, by making the game easier for the part of our user spectrum that is there for the story, for the narrative, and we will not harm the experience of the players who are actually skilled in combat. So that was our hypothesis. Why is it important to form them? Well, first of all, as I said, sentiment topic analysis are not all powerful. They give you something, but they do not give you everything, and it's important to connect those dots. Second, game mechanics. Well, game is actually, it's all about balancing. You have things, you have mechanics and features, and the way you balance them is the way your experience for players will be. And the third thing is that you clearly see that you have multiple subgroups, and some of them can be actually very, very different. So there's not just one homogeneous, target group, and you're making the game for this one imaginary player. You have many different target groups, and it's your job to navigate the space between them to, have them as much as satisfied as possible without frustrating anyone if you want to include them into your target group. So what we did here, first we did an additional research to confirm or disapprove our hypothesis, and we basically found out that the players who are in their core narrative players, who like narrative games and adventure games, they actually don't play Souls-like games, very difficult combat-based games a lot, while the other group who play Souls-like games, we actually found out that in their portfolio of games, they actually play a lot of narrative-driven games and adventure games, so we're like, okay, we might not harm the experience of the second group if we cater a little bit to the first one. So what we did, we lowered the overall difficulty, but not just, by taking out health points and tweaking with the damage. We adjusted the design of some boss fights because boss fights were the churn points, and we reworked the easy difficulty by removing some of the elements of the Souls-like games, for example, respawning enemies, and it bared fruit. Okay, now back to how we perform sentiment and topic analysis. We performed them, well, we tried a lot of methods. We didn't, hit it off, the first time. We tried manual methods, we tried machine learning, we tried openAI. Manual method, it's pretty self-explanatory, so you basically manually sift through reviews and comments and assign sentiment, telling for each comment, okay, this is positive, this is negative, this is neutral. It takes a lot of time, but not as much as you might imagine. The second one is machine learning based on the natural language toolkit Python library, something you can also do for yourselves. It's token-based, also does the sentiment the same way you would do manually. And the openAI methodology, basically you make your own assistant and you try to tell it how to do sentiment analysis for you and pray after that. So we'll skip the manual method, it's self-explanatory. Let's jump into the preview of the natural language toolkit machine learning. We used the pre-trained model with some fine-tuning, and it worked well for us. To be able to do so, first you of course need to pre-process your textual input by removing stop words, by excluding some words if you need to, and then to tokenize it. So this algorithm works by tokenizing the text. It basically transforms the text into individual tokens, which are basically words, and then performs the analysis for each token, so at a more granular level. For it to be able to analyze tokens, you need to do something called stemming and lemmatization, which is basically transforming those words and reducing them to their base root form, which is called a lemma. So you remove suffixes and you do a morphological analysis. For example, if you take words good, better, and best, the lemma for this is good. And this is so the algorithm can more easily work with it. Then you run something called sentiment intensity analyzer, which basically analyzes the sentiment for each token, each word, and then calculates the sentiment for the whole review or comment or text or whatever. You have part of the function on the right side. How can you fine-tune it? Well, something you could do is manually adjust the thresholds, but also what is a must in the gaming industry due to the challenges we were talking about, like double meaning and industry-specific slang. You really gotta provide it with a custom dictionary. So to put on all these words players are using, online, like take my money, this is sick, OP, etc., that your algorithm in its base form will surely not understand. And this is the output. You get your reviews and statements with the sentiment. So something pretty basic that you can easily analyze, visualize, etc. OpenAI, you prompt engineer your own assistant. How do you do that? Well, you have two steps. You define the role of the messenger using the OpenAI API. You basically tell it how it should act. You tell it, okay, you're gonna be my assistant to help me do the sentiment analysis. And then you provide it with the content of the message, which is basically a set of instructions on how it should act, what it should do to perform the sentiment analysis. And you can see some of those are specific instructions, prompts. They also have to be separate. We told it that it should be a laconic assistant to just provide, answer positive, neutral, negative, or mixed, to decide if the sentiment is any of that, to translate the text if needed, and you also specify the desired output format. Can be CSV, can be JSON, or whatever. Again, the similar output, easily to analyze. This was a little bit better for us than the previous model because we could calculate mixed sentiment, and it was a bit better with understanding the context and irony, etc. However, some results were random. Even though you have the parameter to control the randomness, sometimes it was a bit random. Topic analysis, even more methodologies we tried. The first one is manual with the qualitative decoding, and this is basically something we do when we do the sentiment analysis. So along with doing the manual sentiment analysis, we tag those reviews in comments for specific topics and just then synthesize, group those tags into subtopics and iterate until we are satisfied with the number of topics. So the output of the first one are topics, subtopics, and keywords. Then comes the aspect-based topic analysis, which basically takes the output of the first method and just we set up classification rules, just by defining if-then-else classification rules or regular expressions, which can use the output like literally be trained on the first one to analyze new textual input and categorize reviews and comments into already provided and defined topics. We tried BERT and LDA. What worked for us was, what provided interesting results was LDA algorithm combined with the openAI large language model. And again, the openAI does the same as with the sentiment analysis. You just give it different prompts, of course. So the first and the second method, qualitative coding and aspect-based text detection. This is manual work. Yeah, nobody likes manual work, especially in the age of big data, but it's highly rewarding. If you have a comment like this, and the comment says, it's so unfair, hitting the glowing part of the chest with a fire weapon as reload times are too long, so you miss the opportunity window. This is very hard for algorithms to analyze. So how you do it manually? We start just tagging it, and you start thinking about it and analyze, and you say, okay, this is clearly about combat difficulty, it's about hitting weak spots, it's about the reload of the fire weapon, and it's about the short weak spot opportunity window. Okay, you can do better. Combat difficulty remains combat difficulty, hitting weak spots is shooting, fire weapon reload is reload, and the last one is actually related to combat design. You iterate further, combat difficulty remains, shooting and reload is related to weapons, and combat design remains combat design, and this all, in the end, falls under the topic called combat. So this is how you iterate, how you have your granularity, and you can really drill down. Then you use these words, these keywords, and these topics and subtopics to basically, as we said, set up those classification rules for the aspect-based topic detection, and you can easily do this in Tableau, Power BI, even Excel if you do not have such big data, and you can easily classify new textual input using those keywords into already predefined topics. You, of course, predefine them. This is good because you have a very high level of precision and control, but of course it requires time, requires a rich input, and is hard-coded. Doesn't mean you cannot change it on the fly, but it cannot do anything on its own. It needs a human factor. LDA with the openAI large language model. This was interesting for us. We did this, I wouldn't say we didn't need it, but we were like, okay, let's try it. And we ended up with a very, very well-rounded impression summary. How do you do this? Fairly easy. It requires two functions. First function is based on LDA algorithm for topic detection. It takes textual input, extracts topics and keywords. So you provide it with parameters, input parameters, number of topics, number of keywords per topic, and you specify the output, which in this case is a list of topics with sub-lists of keywords. Then you introduce a second function, which takes the output of the first one, introduces a large language model into it, and uses it to generate descriptive texts on the above-mentioned topics using the detected keywords. And you end up with something like this. As I said, a very well-rounded impression summary, and if we take an example for something, let's say the third one, it says the topic is the representation of female characters in video gaming, and then it mentions something about Tomb Raider and Lara Croft and Mass Effect Andromeda, and some people being tired of male-dominated narratives. So it's not still very good for deep down analysis, but it can give you a very well-rounded impression summary. And then lastly, using the openAI assistant, you do the same as with the sentiment analysis. You just provide it with different instructions, and you see the output here. You have the sentiment from before and listed topics. This was, the results with this were good because it could detect a lot of subtopics, but the drawback was it wasn't really able to aggregate them into higher levels of topics. So you really need to do a lot of fine-tuning with your prompts, and even then it's not working very well. For example, if someone says, I really love this game, it will say, okay, I don't know, loving the game, and if someone says I like the game, it will classify it as overall liking, and we want it to classify everything under, let's say, general appreciation. So not very good at aggregation unless you have a lot of time to put into it. So what is the approach that works for us? It might work for you, it might not, but it's something that works for us. Firstly, we start with manual sentiment and topic analysis when we release a first gameplay trailer and with the demo. This is something that we can control, so it's not a worldwide release. We have a lot of content we can manually sift through, and even then we devise a sample of, let's say, 1,000 or 2,000 comments. You can easily, by the way, do this in like 2 days. 1,000 comments seems a lot, but it's really not. So we get our list of sentiment sentiment and topics and subtopics and keywords, and then we use it. We use it for the aspect-based model, and we also use those keywords and topics for fine-tuning machine learning models. So we proceed then with the aspect-based topic analysis, as we explained earlier, and we also do a sentiment analysis with the natural language toolkit, but fine-tuned with the results from the previous step, from the manual analysis. Why do we opt in to make aspect-based topic analysis our primary data source for this? Well, simply because it's all-encompassing. We have our domain knowledge. We know what players are talking about. So it's animation, it's sound, it's gameplay, it's competition, it's combat. So this enables us to encompass everything. If you leave it just to the algorithms will discriminate. They will detect what's being talked about the most. But for us as developers, actually the extremes are as much as important as the things people talk about the most, because those extremes can hurt you very much. It's those extremes that will complain a lot and go with the bad comments, So extremes and outliers, very important for us. We do not ditch them. What do we do then? Well, we do those openAI models with large language models. It helps us compare results, validate our findings for the aspect-based model, and even enhance previous results, because something may pop up that we didn't encompass in our model. Didn't happen to us yet, but it may. And it's also a good thing for us to stay on the edge, to see how these modern technologies are developing, and when it's time to include them permanently into our stack. And then again, you really need to employ yourself as an expert. Sentiment and topic provide something, but it's not plug and play. You need to connect the dots. You need to come up with narratives, with patterns, and this is the job of an insights manager. What's a cool thing you can do with this? Well, you can build your own automated tools. We have many, and this is an example from one of our tools. We call it a competition analysis tool. We scrape YouTube comments for trailers of competition games and do sentiment and topic analysis for them. So we have a script that scrapes the comments, scrapes numbers of views and likes and all comments. We provide some ratios like likes per view, comments per commenter. Then on the right side, you can see the sentiment we do with the natural language toolkit. And in the bottom, you can see the aspect-based topic analysis for a couple of games. And for example, here you can see the first game is Alan Wake. People are talking about a lot about the character and about general appreciation. Spider-Man 2, a lot talking about general appreciation. And Concord apparently reminds players of many different games. So you can see the differences between games. And this is also validation for us, because due to our domain knowledge, we actually know what to expect for some games, and this is as expected. So lastly, I'm going to leave you with some key takeaways. The first one is I hope I will inspire at least some of you to try this on your own. Why? Well, first, player feedback is over there. It's a jungle, but inside that jungle is a gold mine. It's free feedback. It requires only your time and expertise, and I promise you're going to have a lot of fun doing it. It will help make your games better, I promise you. Develop your own framework. So do not discriminate against the old school methods like qualitative coding, and do not shy away from the modern methodologies like openAI and machine learning. Just experiment, combine, see what works for you, and you won't regret it. I strongly encourage you to do that manual work when you have the first significant contact. Yes, you will use it as a training set and for fine-tuning, but the biggest benefit of it is that you will really get to know your data, you will get to know your players, you will get to know the personas behind them, and it will help you later on in the process. Then use the data to really get to know your players. Realize it's not one homogeneous group. This helps you to find the differences between the groups, the specifics, and it will help you navigate between them. Develop insights. So do not use it as a plug-and-play tool. Develop insights, develop theories, test those theories, and again, analyze your whole process, your whole production process, and find the best sweet spots where you can put this to good use. We use it in pre-production for defining pillars. We use it during production for tweaking. We use it during demo launch. We use it when the game is live. So if you do this, it's not hard. You have a lot of materials over there. You can even contact me for some advices. But if you do use it, I promise you're going to see some results here. Thank you very much.